we are always learning and growing as we build our brand, business, and our career. With the right goals and intentions, we can move ourselves closer to our career aspirations.
Yeah, so we're always finding our niche and our strengths as we build and grow as entrepreneurs. Today's episode, we won't have any guests with us, but we wanted to share more about our process and when it comes to growing our business and careers, what is our mindset in going into that. So thank you for joining us on our journey and in this episode. If you're not following us already, give us a follow on your favorite platform. Grab your favorite coffee, whether that be a coffee or a nightcap if you're listening to this at night, and let's dive into it. My name is Galee. I am the owner of Pampas Gal. I specialize in dried flower arrangements and commercial installations, and just recently dabbling a little bit into weddings.
My name is Orlandice Balanag. I am the owner of Interiors on Point. I am an interior designer with an architecture technology background. I specialize in residential and commercial space design. Growth is so important, finding your true niche and strengths, and either in business, your brand, and career.
So yeah, this episode is kind of a bonus because Orlandice and I were discussing how we have a ton of guests that we've had over the last couple episodes, and we kind of want to just give also space to us picking our own brains, and sharing what we're thinking, where we are in our business, and maybe we can even use the time going back and forth between guests to share like what we thought about the guests in the last few episodes, what our findings were. So this episode is going to be more about growth, maybe a little bit about scaling, about how we're really pushing the boundaries of our business. But to start us off, the first question we have is, why do you think growth is so important, whether it be personally or our business?
Growth is so important because if you don't grow, you're stagnant into your wherever you are, if it's in your personal life or your business life or your career, you're just not making those strides. And I feel like you need to make those strides to get to your end result, your end goal. Mm-hmm. And I personally feel going through growth is a step to being successful. And growth could be very painful, but it actually teaches you in the long run. And you gain all these lessons, and it makes you more, as a whole and full of wisdom, and gives you all this knowledge and kind of molds you and grows you to this person you are today.
Yeah, I also see growth as like a step outside our comfort zone. Like whatever we grew up with or what we're defining our boundaries or our comfort zone as, growth is outside of that. Yeah. And to find, I also think that growth comes with courage. Like without courage, it is hard to grow because like you're stuck within the same bubble and the confines of your bubble. So I do think like, if you can muster up courage and then step outside of that and not know what is the, I guess, fine, like what is the destination of the other side of that comfort zone.
And having that courage, you need to be open-minded to grow too. If you're not open-minded and have the mindset to, always keep learning and get all the feedback that you need, if you reject that, then you're not going to grow. Yeah.
Like, I like what you said about like the feedback, like being open to hearing what others have to say, and not, going in as closed-minded, I guess. What were some of the growing pains that you experienced, and how did you overcome that in the last couple of years?
I feel like we both went through some major growing pains.
Yes.
So I could speak for both of us. If you went to episode 1, our first episode
Yeah.
to this is episode 14, you can really tell the growth that you and I have gone through and have molded us. I have gone through my fair share of growing pains. I'm still going through growing pains, and I feel that I had to make some really tough decisions that I didn't want to make, but I had to, in order for me to keep growing and put me into the right direction, whether it's in my personal life or in my business life or career.
Yeah.
And this was to make, I liked what you said, that it makes you feel uncomfortable, but you're supposed to feel uncomfortable, because when you do feel uncomfortable, then you know you are going on the right direction and you're growing. But
it's like a beacon. It's like a calling. Like if something makes you feel uncomfortable, it's like you got to ask yourself, why does this make me feel uncomfortable, or why do I fear that? And if you can ask yourself, like, and it doesn't, and you're like, oh, it's because I don't want to feel uncomfortable. I want to feel safe. I want to feel like, that is like your calling, to just take that extra step, because it only will make you stronger.
what was your growing pains?
My growing pains probably was financial constraint. Like, just wanting to do so many things that I can dream up of in my mind, but then being held back on what that would actually cost me.
Yes, that is a huge one.
Yeah. And then constantly thinking about, like, okay, well, what can I alter in my business to still get a similar result, but then not get the full bloom of, my dream. But then still not giving up on the full idea. Like, it's taking baby steps towards my dream rather than taking big leaps, because those big leaps come with more risk.
Yeah.
And it's balancing how much I am willing to risk versus, I guess, what I'm actually, what my resources actually are.
What have ideas and that helped you overcome that restraint of, having that type of financial backing?
So I guess
I know I threw that one in there.
I mean, no, like that. No, I don't. That's okay. I think, like, just being able to plan in advance. Just because right now I'm not able to achieve my dream goal of what my business could look like, it doesn't mean that I won't get there, and it doesn't mean that, like, I need to settle for less. It just means that I need to plan better and maybe really draw out the details of that business plan and what that looks like, and then moving backwards and being like, okay, how much resources will I need? How much time? How much how much money? How much from the loan? Or like, and then who do I contact? Do I contact a bank, or do I find a private investor? Who do I pitch my idea to? Like, really decide, like, really knowing what that end goal looks like, so that you can reverse engineer the process, and then just being real with yourself on that process and being like, okay, like, I'm at step 1 or I'm at step 2. I'm trying to get to step 10. And that's okay that we're in step 1 and 2.
Yeah, I completely, you give me chills.
How about yourself? What do you feel like some of the process, or like some of the solutions you found in overcoming your constraints?
So financial is a really huge, like, I do agree with you and could relate to you when it comes to a financial restraint, but that does not tell you or give you, it just kind of gives you a little bit of different road than, some people that do have a larger float or a roadmap, but being able to pivot the business and being able to say, okay, you know what, maybe I need to downsize in this side and, put more energy into this side of the business. And then that way you be able to kind of play around. And this would help you. When you do that, you actually gain and get to know more about yourself and your strengths, because this, and this is the last episode we did touch, is like, we talked about failure, how failure, when you feel like you have failed, you have this really this really bad feeling in your gut. You're like, oh, I put so much work and I feel like I failed. But failure is just another process in the right direction, being successful. So in order to feel that, then it'll help you learn and mold yourself. So being able to pivot the business, and don't be afraid to downsize, because you could, when you downsize, you could grow again.
Yeah.
And a lot of business out there will downsize when it has to, like COVID. Lots of businesses downsized and now they're growing back up again.
Yeah.
And they will grow back up again in a different way than they did before.
It's just using what you have, and if you have more limited resources, it's like just being realistic with the capacity of your business, and be like, hey, well, we can't afford this right now, so let's take a step back, and then when we can afford it, let's move in that direction again.
So that, me touching on pivoting the business, what did you find, or what did you do to pivoting your business, going through the growing pains that you went through?
I guess for me is touching on like the pivoting part, like, or the financial constraint part. A big thing I wanted to mention is like, the more that I'm able to communicate where those financial constraints are, and just talking to other business owners, to not be afraid of talking about money is such a big strength that I have felt like I've overcome. Like, a lot of people don't like the topic of money, and they don't want to talk about like how much they make, or maybe how much they're losing, or because it can come with shame, or it can come with a lot of like weird relationships with money, depending on, like, I guess it could be so many different factors, your upbringing or just how you see money. So me, I guess, being able to communicate to other friends and saying like, oh, I'm struggling here, but like, this part of my business is bringing a lot of money. And then I guess one thing that I have from a lot of friends were, weddings were a big part of my revenue this summer, and like a lot of my entrepreneurial friends just said like, keep going. If that makes up a big chunk of your business, keep that. You don't want to lose out on that, because that's going to keep you afloat. It's going to keep your business running on an engine, right? It's like an automatic engine, whereas anything else outside of that, I could, dabble in for fun and to test and continue testing. But if weddings is something that is what is generating the business revenue on a consistent pace, then, keep going down that path. So that was one of my biggest pivots, was to go into like more service-based industry, into weddings. And I'm really glad I did, because it definitely kept my summer and this year afloat, allowing me to have more time and more resources to expand into other avenues.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Thanks. How about yourself? How did you pivot your business?
Well, so I'm going to kind of touch back on my own growing pains. I know financial constraints was one of them. Time management was a huge growing pain for me. It's because when I downsized the business, there was not enough hours in one day, and I had to really budget my time and learn what I could do in one day, and being able to say no. I'm starting to feel that now. Don't be afraid to say no, because that is helping you in the long run. Yeah. And that was one of my growing pains, is because you want to take everything on, but being able to constrain your time, be able to time manage your place, or yourself, and then being able to say no. And for that, I learned when I pivot the business is I took a step back from managing a design firm. I am a solo designer now, only working alongside a lot of upcoming entrepreneurs. That's where I want to be, and clients in their residential spaces. So I have more of a personal one-on-one with them each. And I've learned that teaching my passion is something that came out of me in this process, and that's how I pivot my business, and being able to bring in that service of educating my passion and finding my teaching styles that will help me grow as an interior designer with Interiors on Point.
I love that. And that actually moves into our next question about like where's the current landscape of our business. And like I think that the pandemic has changed the landscape economically in general, and so we've had to alter our business to adjust to that kind of landscape. I think you're doing such a great job with like pushing the boundaries, and like I just remember being there for you, and like when you had to downsize and you're like, I don't know what's happening, and then now look at you where you're like blossoming in a different channel, and I could tell like you're so happy.
I'm much happier. I was so stressed, but I feel the same for you. Like you pivot a complete direction. So if you like watched our first episodes and then you see us today, you're going to be like, wow, they totally pivot.
I'm in a farmer's market now.
You have like a storefront. And you doing installations, not only in like for Interiors on Point, but you're doing it like in all the weddings. Like that's amazing. And Christmas.
The big Pampas Christmas tree. We just did that last week. So it's been really fun. I think like figuring out that I also love to teach, like doing workshops, and
I see you doing a lot of those. And so where do you find where your business and yourself and your like current landscape going?
Like I see myself continuing to create and to come up with new designs for whether it be for commercial or it can even be as small as a tabletop arrangement. Bountiful Farmers Market has been a great space for me to constantly create new designs in terms of bouquets and arrangements because there's such high traffic. So whenever someone comes and is like, can you create something custom for me? There's such opportunities every single week for me to create something new, and it's on a smaller scale, which allows me to practice my design skills. But then that allows me to, like, when I do a workshop, I have a better eye and a better like communication style. I get to work on a communication style to teach someone how to put something beautiful together.
That's awesome.
So it all kind of has been just coming into play and all linking together. And it's, I don't know, it's so hard to describe, but like,
the pieces fall into
place. All the floral designing, the teaching, and everything is just coming into place, and so that's kind of my current landscape.
I want to kind of stop us and kind of touch on something that's kind of cool. You guys, a fun fact about Galee and I, when we first went into launching Pampas and Pencils, we actually went into originally wanting to do workshops, not the podcast. The podcast has become very
prominent.
And we went into a different direction, and so each of us broke off. She started doing workshops, I started teaching, and so we're hoping we're gonna come together hopefully in the next like spring and to do an educational workshop, bringing in interior design and Pampas.
We were just saying, like, we're kind of practicing our workshop and educational skills on our own, and then we're gonna come back and apply it to our original goal. So I'm so excited for that. We have no concrete plans for that specifically, but I guess if anyone has any ideas, feel free to share with us on what kind of workshop you'd like to see from the both of us.
Yes, would love to hear that feedback. That being said, what did you find about yourself in this growing process that we are just kind of sharing our journey with?
I guess I found that For me, I'm very capable of the things that I might doubt that I can or cannot do. I've really noticed myself surpass my comfort zone and my own idea of what my capacity is, and which is why in the last few episodes my affirmations, like, I am capable and I am able to attain my dreams. I think it's that failing fast and then getting back up and seeing myself win or seeing myself accomplish after I've fallen down is it gives me that motivation and that accountability that, like, I am able to do it. Like, if no one's gonna believe in me, I'm gonna believe in myself.
That's so good. Yeah, no. And one thing I really liked, and I always took from, I believe is one of the very first episodes we talked, but you were like, always celebrate the little wins. So even if I just like, got through the day and I feel that I'm all caught up on marking and got up, some drawings out, that's a win.
It's a win.
Yeah.
And it should be celebrated.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be like, you don't have to like celebrate like a big grand, but you can be like, okay, I'm going to, take myself out to get a glass of wine, or like I'm gonna make myself or ice cream. Like little stuff like that just is so intentional. Like to go out and treat yourself to an ice cream cone. It's like, I don't know, I think it's just cool to have that relationship with yourself.
I agree. I really agree. Yeah. What I've learned through this growing process is taking time for myself. So I have really taken, like, I know the work is just piling up, but if you don't take time for yourself, you cannot do that pile of work.
Yeah.
So that is one thing. Always take time for yourself. You are doing great. Just keep going. You came this far.
Yeah.
Just keep going. And I've learned old pieces of me through this process. For example, I teach design, and I have an art background. My dad's an artist, so it just like flows out of me, like, teaching like abstract and all this stuff. And I'm like, I love this stuff. So like being able to go back to like me painting and like you feel that helps you find yourself, and then you could take that with you into your career and be able to mold yourself, because you're ever revolving, and so is your business. So being able to take time, that's one thing, take time for yourself and find pieces of you that it actually spreads into your business and your, like, how you are reflected and how you work is how your career and your business is going to work.
Yeah, and I want to also say, like, don't ever let anybody tell you what that process should look like.
Yes, because you're always looking.
Because that process is built upon yourself, and it sounds scary. It sounds that it's like, oh my gosh, like I don't know the roadmap to my own life. And like we both still don't know our roadmap, but I think that is the beauty and the art of entrepreneurship, which is being open-minded and open to the idea that it is ever-changing. And I made a post on my personal Instagram the other day, maybe a couple months ago. I was like, I feel like my life is constantly in chaos, but I think also the chaos is now a normal. Like, you need to accept the chaos, because that is the recipe to keep growing and to keep navigating and seeking for new opportunities.
While it's organized.
Yeah, like organized chaos. Yeah. I guess constantly searching to keep that mindset organized, or that you're, that, there could be days where you slip up. Like, there could be days that you don't work as many hours as you wish and intended to. But that is also the growing pain in the process of you mentally, like, overcoming those challenges.
I agree. So us finding ourselves and molding ourselves into this, and finding our strengths and our weakness, what we start to find our brand and our niche markets and are hitting our niche markets. What do you find is your niche market?
I think you just touched base on like female entrepreneurs and how you love working with female entrepreneurs in the commercial space. I also love the same. I love supporting other women in their business. So I guess my niche market is still not that narrowed down. I feel like I'm still searching and really defining that. So for me, when I do get a client that is a female entrepreneur, they're opening a business, I love creating something for them that's custom for their space, because I know that is when they have their grand opening, like that is going to be like what they want to give out to the world, what they want to express to the world. Another thing that kind of ties into that with the wedding industry is like I feel like my florals is a big representation of that bride's identity. It's the free-spirited, like the wild, like open, loving spirit that girl wants to share with their family and their friends on one of the biggest days of their life. And being able to cultivate and create these big pieces allows it helps express that bride's like energy out to the world, because I do think that pampas grass and dried florals, it does speak from a certain level of energy. It's not just like typical like fresh flowers. I do think that there's like a boho spirit within dried florals, and so just me truly embodying that and then helping my clients express that, it kind of all flows together.
You develop this, this brand, this wedding, this design for your client.
And that kind of goes into their homes too, right? So that person wants to define or identify themselves as like that free-spirited, like open-hearted girl, and if I can design that for their residential space, then that gives them that identity to walk home to and feel like, oh, this is me. So
that's awesome.
How about you? What do you think your niche market is?
My niche, definitely the entrepreneur. I've been working with a lot of new upcoming entrepreneurs that are opening up boutiques around the city, boutiques, salons, around the city, and just being able to work with them, growing this vision and this dream. And then when they just take off, and it's so nice to go back and look at it, like for instance, EXO in Maine, when she opened up her boutique in St. Albert last year, she's just flourishing. And it's always nice to go back because I remember working with her and just like the trials and tribulations of going through the design process and then the construction process and stuff. Now it's open, and she's taking off. And I enjoy that, and I think that's where my strength is like I'm very much in commercial design. I do like residential. I do dabble in that too, but I'm very strong suit into the commercial.
You love supporting other women in their business and dreams and endeavors.
Yes. Yeah. So what ways are you currently trying to scale your business?
So for me, my method of scaling my business is expanding to different sales channels. Originally, my business was an e-commerce only, so in the retail space. And then I'm still in retail, so I am doing more physical storefront stuff. I'm doing pop-up markets around the city. I did over 14 this summer. And then I'm doing the Bountiful Farmers Market, which has been now like my home base. And then I'm also doing retail consignment. So you'll find me in a few stores around the city. So you'll find me at the Maker's Keep. You'll find me at Brew and Bloom Cafe. And you'll also find me at the Fourth Boutique at Southgate Mall. And then I have a little bit of stuff at Morning Brew Cafe in Sherwood Park. So that retail consignment has been a great way for me to
so awesome.
To push the boundaries in having a retail like storefront without having to actually have a storefront yet, and just really seeing like what people want within the Edmonton market. And then outside of the retail space, like I said, I've been doing more weddings, so more of the service-based business, and then commercial installation. So helping you alongside with you, with helping all the female entrepreneurs that are looking to build physical retail stores, and being able to build installations for that. And then I guess now I am this November and December, I'm really going to be focusing back more to my square one, which was e-commerce. So really considering, coming into Black Friday and Christmas season, what are people looking for gifting, and how can I use e-commerce as one of my channels to share that, to make it easier for people to shop.
Girl, you're so busy.
I'm very busy. Yeah, so just expanding sales channels and then not forgetting to go back to the original sales channel. That's, I guess, where I'm at right now.
Wow, good for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you should be so proud of yourself.
Thank you.
Wow, that is amazing.
How about yourself? How are you scaling your business at the moment?
So I know how we touched how I pivot the business a bit. So I am working alongside one-on-one with my clients. And I have taken the educational route and I am enjoying it. So I want to not only stay into the educational route, but I also want to, ooze that passion and be able to go into more of the workshop route now and providing that service in design, being able to share my, over 15 years of experience in the industry and what I do in the day-to-day age with working alongside my contractor, Tyler, or any other of my clients, developing these really cool spaces to educating on, how design from concept to end result is the process and all. And I find that is where I feel comfortable best and my strengths are in.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm so excited. And we might do some traveling next year to expand on the educational part.
Yes, we are on that in the works. Galee and I definitely want to get some more inspiration in. So we are going to be doing some traveling next year. And hopefully we could take Pampas and pencils with us.
Yeah, we'll do an episode in Europe or something.
Yes. This is still a business trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we want to learn more about the history of interior design. So I think it'll benefit both of our business, especially for you.
Oh yeah, and for you too. Yeah. Like we're all influenced by culture, religion, just all aspects of the world and how their innovative elements that they come up with, we bring here.
And what still is, what we can still see that is an influence of European culture or whatever country we're in, how it affects and what we see in the city of Edmonton.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So I'm really happy that we get to share our journey and our growing process in it all, right, in our current stance. Let's run into affirmations.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, I don't think I even thought about my affirmations yet. So for this week, my affirmation is I am laser focused.
Laser focused.
Yes. So, I spent this weekend in New York. I took a little bit of self-care time to myself, just reminding myself how much I love to travel, and just really enjoying the city for no other reason than to just enjoy a vacation. And so I'm back home now, and I am ready to grind and to be hyper focused again. So yeah, that's my affirmation, is just to be laser focused, and timely and concise with the things that I need to do to make my goals happen.
I love that. Mine is I am growing.
Yay.
I like how I talk.
Yeah, it's very, very complimentary to this episode.
Not to be to embrace your growth and your growing process, to enjoy each process and every step of the way, and be able to take everything in.
Yeah. Everything. Like all aspects.
Yeah.
Whether it be people, culture, everything. Music. So this is, I guess, last episode we said that we were going to have Grace. But then this is kind of our bonus episode. So the next episode, we're actually having Grace. We snuck this one in because we wanted to have an episode just me and Orlandice. So next week, we are having Grace from Fresh Space by Grace. And she's going to be hanging out with us on the podcast, talking about time management. We're so excited because we can all use a little improvement on time management. I'm sure we all can.
Yes.
What's her backstory? She works, but she also has her own business, but she also is a mother.
Yes.
Yeah.
I could relate.
Yeah. So I'm so excited to hear more about her, and I'm sure you guys will have so much to talk about being like mothers, and I'm going to pick both of your brains because I'm not yet a mother, so I'm going to pick both your brains.
Time management is huge, and being able to be very versatile and multitasking. So, definitely hang out with us in our next episode with Grace. Subscribe to us.
Yes, on any of the platforms that you listen to. That means a lot to us. And as always, if you have any takeaways, golden nuggets from this episode, feel free to please send us a DM or comment on one of our posts on Instagram. And that would kind of give us some fuel to know what people are loving about the podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you next episode.